All right, folks. So it has officially been a week since Taylor Swift released her latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, and good grief. Uh, I this is most likely, I feel, as someone who's been an outsider looking in, who has listened to, well, okay, the only Taylor Swift albums I have not listened to are the re-recordings, just because I'm a believer in, look, I like the OG versions of it. I mean, I'm sure the re-recording some songs might actually sound better than the original, given that her vocals might have gotten stronger since then. But nah, I'm good. I'm good. Give me the originals. But and I'm not really a folk fan, so I don't think I listened to all of Folklore and the other album of the same genre. I can't remember, but yeah. But Life of a Showgirl, I think this is easily the most polarizing album, just based on the massive, massive backlash it's been receiving. But I think, in all honesty, it's just an internet trend where if people notice that hating on a certain movie or a book or an album or a person is popular, they will jump aboard the bandwagon, to get those views and whatnot. And you're probably like, well, Jeremy, you're doing the same thing. No, because I've talked about Taylor Swift on this channel before. Not to mention, those videos don't get a ton of views anyway. This is more like hey, remember, this channel's called My Kind of Entertainment, meaning that I want to talk about various things from pop culture and things that I, am kind of tuned into, or if I find it interesting. But yeah, a week later, and I actually listened to the clean version of the album, because initially I just listened to the explicit because I'm a 34-year-old man. I have no problems with profanity. But I'm not going to say listening to the clean version made this album any better, but it felt slightly less cringy because it didn't really hit me until. And over the past week, I've looked at maybe half a dozen people do breakdowns of the album. None of that Easter egg crap. I'm not going to sit here and watch a video going over like 100 different Easter eggs that were in the music video or the album itself. No, I ain't got time for that. But then again, there are people who did make time for that, and that's how they did the video. But more to the point, it's just that it's very noticeable that a good chunk of Taylor fans or Swifties are actually speaking out about how lackluster the album is. Now, don't get me wrong, despite the critical reviews and whatnot, the album still broke records. What was it? Became the most pre-saved album of all time, breaking the record that Tortured Poets Department previously held. And it was the first album to hit the first album to surpass 5 million pre-saves. And from there, it became the most streamed album of all time in a single day on Amazon Music, and the most streamed album in a single day in 2025 on Spotify and Apple Music. And from there, I believe, first day release, it sold almost 3 million records. I believe 2.7 to be exact, 2.7 millions. And it instantly made the ranking of the best-selling album of 2025. Yeah, we only got a couple more months left of the year, so it's probably going to hold that title until 2026. And by day 5, it had sold 3.5 million records, breaking the record that Adele's album 25 held for the past decade. Good grief. Crazy work. But either way, the album itself, after listening to all the reviews, I believe Taylor actually put out a statement. I did see a video where she kind of responded to the criticism of the album. But it's just one of those things where she's still winning. I mean, she mentioned how, as long as everybody's talking about the album, then that's really what matters. And she's a billionaire. And I just feel like at this point, she's laughing all the way to the bank. Everybody and their mother, people who have probably never even listened to a Taylor Swift song, are jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, she's a crappy lyricist, or how we've been telling you this whole time. And it's like, yeah, the most interesting thing about this whole album is that there are some Swifties who are finally listening and hearing Taylor Swift the way the majority has been hearing her this entire time. It's trash, it's awful, this, that, and the third. But either way, the album is a record-breaking piece of artistry, whether you like it or not. The only way this could be, quote unquote, the beginning of the end is if this album gets such bad reception and is such a disappointment that the next time an album is released, it doesn't make number one, or it doesn't, well, let's be real, it's a Taylor Swift album, it's going to hit number one, but let's just say that the next album does not break the records that The Life of a Showgirl accomplished. I mean, so long as she has the Swiftie fan base, she's golden. And let's be real, she's a billionaire. I mean, she doesn't have to do another show or tour for the rest of her life if she doesn't want to. But it's just the fact that people buy into it. There are people who bought like I can't even keep track of it all, but didn't she put out like over like a couple dozen variants of the album with like different cover art, different themes, or it's just a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know. It's just one of those things where she is milking the cow that is her audience, and a lot of people don't like the fact that this seems like a cash grab. With how hastily put together the songs were, you could definitely tell this was something she was writing in between gigs for her Eras tour, because it felt like it needed to bake a bit more. And I think the most polarizing thing is, and I did not think of this until I heard someone else say it, with all the innuendos and attempts to be raunchy and stuff, this felt like Taylor was trying to do a Sabrina Carpenter impression, because I was not a fan of Man's Best Friend, because it just felt like, okay, I get it. It's like the tongue-in-cheek innuendos, but it's cute on like one or two tracks when you do it sparingly. But when your whole album just feels like it's, how did some person describe it? Man's Best Friend basically described Sabrina if she was an OnlyFans girl. And I'm like, yeah, that pretty much sums it up, you know? So Taylor Swift just seemed to be doing that same thing with this album and flopped hard. And funny enough, in my personal opinion, the best performance of the album was Sabrina's feature on The Life of a Showgirl. And I'm like, dang, Sabrina on this one song I found way more appealing than the Man's Best Friend album in its entirety. And that's saying something. But I just think that some people could look at this as Taylor Swift knowing what she's doing. I don't think she'd be a billionaire if she didn't know what she was doing. She probably knew this album was lackluster. She just knew that if she put out the album the way she wanted, or the way her and her team put together, it's like, let's make it in such a way that we know the Swifties will buy into it, but talk about things that will have everybody else in their mind talking about it. Because regardless of how people feel, the numbers for the album are still going up. It's still breaking records. And she says she's not going on tour anytime soon because she's tired, which I don't blame her. She put in the work for the Eras tour. And the thing is, even if you don't like Taylor Swift or whatever, the woman works hard for what she has. I mean, even Travis said when, because I think he did a few shows with her, like, you know, he had a, role as one of the people on stage, and he saw like the effort and whatnot she put into it. And it's real, like, it's legit athletic workouts, if not more intense than what he's used to as a football player. Because I think I saw somewhere like, she's on the treadmill in heels and whatnot, because it takes a lot of endurance and stamina to perform these long shows and do all the songs. So I respect her as a business person and as a performer. I'm not her biggest fan, but I do respect the hustle. But at some point it's like, okay, do you think you're milking it a bit too much? But at the same time, if you have a willing and participating audience that will buy your product, well, you do what you got to do. And I mean, if you put something out and it doesn't sell, okay, back to the drawing board. But if I put something out and it just flies off shelves, yeah, people are, oh, it's a recession and whatnot. People, Look at the Switch 2 when they were like, oh, it's $500. This is ridiculous. This is a recession. Nobody can afford this. But then the dang thing sold out like it was nobody's business. Couldn't even find one for a couple of weeks. Just because you can't afford something doesn't mean there isn't someone out there who can. And I'm not saying this in an arrogant way like, yeah, because you're broke. No, it's just the reality of it. There are things, whether it be concert tickets, video games, new clothes, new shoes, or whatever. Even if times are tough, if somebody wants something bad enough, they'll forego responsibility in terms of things that they ought to put the money towards to get a bit of luxury. Because in times like this, having a little piece of something that you enjoy can make life a bit easier. Sure, you might be struggling to make up for the money you spend on something, but it is what it is. So I just feel like Life of a Showgirl was lackluster, but Taylor is making her money from it. I can't fault it. And now, yeah, you got like the Charlie XCX thing, the drama, and then, and that one song, the Fate of Opalite or whatever, Fate of Ophelia, she took a shot at Travis's exes, and they were black and whatnot. I don't know about all that nonsense. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a YouTuber out there who broke that down. I don't know all this stuff. But it just seems like, yeah, after listening to the clean version, it was an easier sit through than the cringy explicit version. But the lyrics aren't her best, and I'm not picking on her because, like, on my other channel, when I do my Tyler Perry reviews and whatnot, he's a billionaire, and it's disappointing watching most of his material now because it's just a farce compared to the stuff he used to put out, like Have and Have Nots and whatnot, because I know how good of a writer he is, but I believe he stated in one interview that, well, until these companies give him the same budget as these white shows and whatnot, he's just going to throw out there what he does, knowing that the people will eat it up. So, yeah, I mean, once you reach a certain status, once you have an audience that you know will support you no matter what, you don't really try as hard because you don't have to. While I can understand that, it just sucks that if you're a longtime fan, you feel alienated because, hey, me supporting your quality work is what got you to the point where you feel like you can half-ass it, but I don't know. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about Taylor's album a week later? Have you listened to it? Did you like it? Is it one of your favorite Taylor albums? Is it one of her worst pieces of work? Better yet, in the comments, what is your favorite Taylor Swift album? And give me your top 3 Taylor Swift songs.